All right, this is my last native terrain dragon deck that I built a while back and have just gone over it and redid it. And I've never made a deck tech video for these, so I'm doing it now. In my opinion, these two dragons are the best designed native terrain dragons in the series of native terrain dragons. Not necessarily the most powerful. I think the most powerful are the ones that say ×2. And that's Miasma and I forget the other one. I forget their names. One's Lake ×2 and one is Swamp ×2. Swamp is Miasma and Lake is, I don't know. Can't remember the name. Doesn't matter. They're the most powerful. I think they're too powerful. I think these are just right. So you've got Megalith, scary looking thing. Looks kind of like Basilisk. To me, what a Basilisk would look like. And I'm trying to keep that glare thing off, but oh well, that'll have to be good enough. Native Terrain Ruins, a most interesting native terrain. When he is killed, so it's not about you can't use Golden Apple and Fountain of Youth and still get this ability. He has to die. You can save him, but if he's killed, one opposing dragon must be turned face down. It must be paid for again when it is turned face up. So he has to die. There's no saving him. It's not about losing a battle. But then you get that ability. So I'm thinking, all right, so Gold Drain should be part of the theme of this deck. And then you've got over here Helix, cool looking dragon. Native Terrain Vines. Action. Pay 1 gold. No battle action cards may be played this turn. So that's a built-in Marduk. So I'm still going to run 2 Marduks in this deck. I thought about running 0, and I still might. I might change it to 0. But because of these abilities, I want to try to get into battle with these guys as early as I can. I'm not going to be focused as much on swapping out a position. I need to swap out. I need to get terrains in the graveyard. So I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently. And I'm going to I'll show you what the plan is there. Well, first of all, we have Vines and we have Ruins. So Vines says, make sure it's in the camera, right? We'll just do it like this. All right. Dragon is not able to play action cards during attack and defense for the rest of the game. Vines affects flying dragons only. So I should only put this in my back row. I don't want to put this in my front row. Although in my rule, it gets swapped out if a non-flying dragon hits it, and it goes into my discard pile anyway. So this really lines up with what Helix does. So he's got you could say he's got a built-in Vines. He's got a built-in Marduk. He's got a built-in Vines ability. So this greatly hampers your opponent's flying dragons. So I want them to hit the Vines. I want this effect to happen. And then with Ruins, just like with Megalith, so it does the same thing. If dragon is turned face down, it must be paid for again when it is turned face up. So clearly I want to try to get my opponent to run out of gold. And then we have the wonderful dual terrain overgrown monument. Draw a card from your treasure hoard if it applies to the dragon. It's always going to apply. So that's a really good terrain. It gets you a card. So they're all good. I'm not running any other terrains. I'm not running any Fields of Gold or Gold Digs in this deck. I'm going to run pretty much the same thing here. Amphitheater, Mogre, Mogre, so you can read it. Delphine. So those are my 3 scouts, and we'll do Lambton Worm, and we'll do Kane Qua'ana to save the native terrain dragons. Let me get that so you can read it. So you make sure you know what that says and what it does. And I'm going to run Lindworm, and I'm also going to run Basilisk. He's over here because I keep him on the side. And that's it. 20 cards. We're going with 20. I'm going to try to attack more often with this deck. Now, because of Megalith and Runes, I'm going to go with 4 Sirens. Sirens, 4... Whoops. Well, they're here somewhere. I can read it. Hold on one second. Okay, so Sirens is an action. Play during opponent's turn. Opponent must attack with a face-down dragon if possible. If he can't, he has to replace a card in his battlefield. So I'm trying to get him to attack with a face-down dragon. He might attack with a scout. That's fine. If that happens, that happens. But this way, I'm trying to get these dragons turned up. But of course, I'm either going to need them to hit ruins, or I'm going to need them to get into a battle with Megalith, but then Megalith has to die. So it's not the easiest thing. Do you really want him to die? Well, I'm running the one copy of Ishtar to bring him back, so that should help. I'm also going to run 2 copies of Avalanche to turn all dragons face down. I'm only running 2 because I don't expect this to happen more than one time. It might. Maybe I'll increase it to 3 at some point if I find it that it does work more often than I thought it would. But then I'm going to try to get my... I really should do this with every native terrain dragon. I really should run 4 Freys and 4 towns, because this gets your discard pile filled without having to swap out, and you can attack if you want to. And then town, of course, allows you to get 2 cards in. Frey does 1 for free. Town does 2, and in both cases, you see, you can still attack. You can still attack or swap out. So Town and Freya are great for this kind of deck. I'm not running any Galahads or Jasons. I'm only running 4 Seth. I might lower that to 3, just to have a way to destroy their terrains other than with scouts. This also turns up their dragons. If I hit a dragon, it's up. And that's a key. Now, in order for this to work, they either have to get into a battle with Megalith or they have to hit ruins. So it's still going to be difficult to make that work. But it will work sometimes. So just 2 Marduks, 1 Ishtar to bring back the native terrain dragon. I'm going to try again 1 magical healing, especially since I'm hoping to attack more with this deck. Of course, you have to realize that Helix starts out as a 1-strength dragon, so until he's big, you're not going to be doing that ability too much. Pay 1 gold, no battle action cards can be played. Well, you've got to be at least tied to win that battle, so be careful with that. 4 meteor showers, 1 volcanic eruption. I'm still going to go with 4 golden apples. I considered playing less since I can't play battle actions with vines and Helix. I thought, should I go down to 2? That's an option that I'm considering. I'm only going to run 2 knights because again, battle actions. I'm trying to do less battle actions and more focused on the Helix ability. But there's still Megalith and there's the other dragons. And since we're doing Gold Drain because of Megalith, I'm going to run 4 copies of Sacrifice. Again, though, that's a battle action. So this is tricky how to do this. And I'm gonna go with 2 Spectral Shifts. I don't want to do a ton of them, but I'm just gonna do 2 just in case I need them. And I'm gonna go with how many was I gonna do? Just 2. 2 copies of Blinding Light. Because if they do attack with a scout and they do destroy my terrain, hopefully they'll do it with a Blinding Light on the terrain, and I can at least take out the scout's ability to scout, which would be really, really nice. Now, does that the scout lose ability? No. I thought maybe if it was turned down or something, it would go away. No. 1 Kiss, of course. 4 Fountains of Youth without question, because, well, that is a battle action, but it's battle action cards, I believe, that the Vines says. Can't play battle action cards. This is not a battle action card. This is a treasure with the words battle action on it. And I'm just running 1 treasure room to generate a little more gold for me. That's a possible change that I might make at some point. I might not run with that. So a little bit different build for this, but like I say, these are the kinds of native terrain dragons I would have liked to have seen more of. Something that has unique abilities that make them stand out from others. I think they're very interesting, and I can't wait to try this deck out. I'm really looking forward to it. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk again. Oh, and if anyone's interested in Pokemon, I have my Pokemon collection video up. I just posted that a day ago. And I have a lot of L5R cards, the old game, Legend of the Five Rings. I'm considering making some deck tech videos of my old L5R decks. Might be a fun thing to do. We'll see. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.